In today's Leeds news, Farke on PGMOL apologies, new contracts on the horizon, Phillips update, and Leeds to miss out on Motherwell's star. Morning folks, Jer here on Wednesday the 10th of April with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a decent week so far. Not a great night at the office last night, although funnily enough I disagree with a lot of people on this one. I thought the performance was better than it was against Coventry and better than it has been in the last couple of games. There was slightly more energy to it, the tempo was a little bit quicker, Leeds were moving the ball faster, but ultimately lacking a spark around the edge of the box and overcompensating and overplaying the ball to Chris Somerville rather than being more open and expansive with the ball. Not taking enough chances, not hitting enough shots, but there were some very interesting calls last night by the referee as well. Daniel Ballard was very lucky to stay on the park in the first half. Should have probably seen a red card for what he had been up to with Patrick Bamford, and was involved in two key incidents that Daniel Farke was left frustrated about last night. We'll get in and start talking about that now. Daniel Farke, as I said, was left a frustrated figure at full time last night as Leeds failed to capitalise on Leicester's defeat and moved back to the top of the table. Leeds, however, do move back into second place, temporarily at least. Ipswich to play tonight. But Daniel Farke believes Leeds were denied two clear penalties. The first was Daniel Ballard's denial of a Crescencio Somerville shot where he sticks his elbow out and leans in to the ball. The referee's got a very clear shot of it from one of the angles shown by Sky Sports last night. It hits off the elbow of Ballard and goes out playing. If you look at it, Patrick Bamford is following and right in at the back post as well, so if Somerville's ball doesn't go in, it probably gets a touch off Bamford and goes in and then ends up going wide because of the elbow. The second one was from Luke O'Nien, who put his hand in the face of Joe Rodon and palmed the ball down from a corner. Ironically, the first time Leeds looked like they might actually score directly from a corner with Joe Rodon and a pretty clear header at that moment until the hand went up. Delivery last night actually from the corners from Leeds was much better than it has been in recent months. It was probably the best example of set piece taken I've seen from Leeds. We still just don't have anybody who can get on the end of them, but it was a definite penalty. Again, the referee was in a very clear position. Farke was also frustrated with just 3 minutes of added time added on, considering 10 substitutes were made and 30 seconds is allowed for each substitute. That's 5 minutes, not 3. And then the referee had been gesturing to his watch throughout the second half with the time wasting that was going on, saying he was adding it on, and in the end added on 3 minutes in total, which Farke very frustrated with. I'm less annoyed about that. If you can't do your job in 90 minutes, 5 minutes of injury time, if you're desperate for that, there's bigger problems there, but not the point. I suppose the point is the officiating all up. Farke revealed in his post-match press conference how many times the PGMOL have contacted him this year to apologise for mistakes made by match officials. Farke said that on 6 separate occasions this year he has received apology letters from the PGMOL to apologise for mistakes made by their officials or poor officiating. Farke said that 6 letters don't get Leeds a win in this game, but 2 penalties would have. The referee had a really bad day at the office. Ballard should have been sent off for the second incident with Pat Bamford, where he kicks out at him. You can see the leg being thrown out, the trips up Pat Bamford. The referee's looking straight at it, decides to do nothing about it. Leeds could have capitalised on this a bit more. They could have got the ball more into Pat Bamford's feet to allow him to, I suppose, wind up Ballard a little bit and get Ballard more involved in the game. In the second half, that kind of went away. It was disappointing, but outside of the result, again, there were 2 clear penalties there last night. Leeds should have won that game. Leeds should have had at least one of those 2 penalties given. Should have. I'm not going to go crazy and overreact to this. I'm not. It's a game. We got a point. It's not over yet. Probably trying to convince myself, but I don't think it is. Moving on, let's talk about some new contracts in the workings. And according to the Yorkshire Evening Post, Leeds United are planning to offer new deals to keep key players at the club next season. We heard last week about Archie Gray potentially getting another new deal to try and increase his salary up to a more equal level to the rest of the playing squad at the club. According to YP, Leeds are now also looking at putting a deal on the table for Crescencio Somerville. Despite the performance last night, I thought Chris Somerville was back to not saying necessarily his best, but better than he had been in the previous couple of games. He looked a live wire last night, was tracking back, he was working hard. Leeds are said to want to tie the player down to a longer term deal and give him a remuneration package that reflects the quality that he has given to Leeds this season. Both players are on the radar of several European clubs as well as Premier Division clubs, and Leeds missing out on promotion will only add more noise to that fire should it not get done. Should it not happen, I still think it will, but should it not, Somerville Leeds have said that they do want to tie Somerville down to a longer term deal if and when they can as well. That was talked about being happening potentially towards the end of the season or during the summer. But Jed York was in attendance last night at the Leeds game as well. So, maybe there's some bigger deals going on there than we know about. Speaking of deals, moving on, talk about Calvin Phillips. Interesting one. This put a poll out last week on the page to see, and deliberately, just a straightforward yes or no. Would you want Calvin Phillips back at Leeds? Over 60% of a couple of thousand people said no. Same on Twitter. A couple of thousand people all said no. 60% again. So about 60% of people don't want Calvin back. 40% in and around do. Well, according to Fabrizio Romano, the 60% may get exactly what they want. Fabrizio Romano has been talking in his weekly bulletin, and he said any talks of a Calvin Phillips return to Leeds United are premature. Romano went on to say that he understands that all reports linking Phillips with any kind of a move to Leeds United or to Fulham are really premature, and nothing has been decided and nothing is concrete at this stage. He went on to say that this isn't the kind of deal that gets done in April and May. This is very much a deal that gets done in the summer once you know what division you're going to be playing in next year. And he did highlight the fact that for Leeds to get this deal done, Leeds would want to be making sure that they're playing in the Premier Division next season. But again, there's a lot of rumour and speculation about the Phillips stuff. There's a lot of sites saying that a deal isn't the workings. The clubs are talking to each other. Now, according to Romano on this one, premature, no talks being held, no deals being prepared just yet. And we'll have to wait until the end of the season to see where all the clubs sit and who else is interested and what Man City want to do with Phillips when they bring him back. And moving on today to the final story, and it's one about Leeds potentially missing out on another underage star or potential star up in Scotland. A few months ago, we talked about the fact that promising Motherwell attacker Dylan Wells had been linked with a move to Leeds United in the summer. At the time, Leeds were said to be watching the player, and he was said to be out of contract this summer. Now, according to Daily Record in Scotland, Wells has entered contract talks with Motherwell around a new deal at Fair Park. The 18-year-old had several clubs interested in him. Leeds United, Brighton Hove Albion and Bristol City were all name-checked as clubs that were monitoring the player's situation. Leeds looking to add more players to their underage setup next season and dipping back into the Scottish market where they got Rory Mahady, Louis Peary and Josh MacDonald, who have all been really, really good for the underage teams this year. However, Motherwell have always said that they rated the player and wanted him to continue his development at the club. He's currently in the Motherwell B side. And it looks as if the player will at least have his immediate future sorted out and staying at Fair Park and with Motherwell for the time being. At least, folks, that's going to be it for me today. No match review today. There will be a match review from the weekend's game. I just don't have time to do it today, but we'll get one done for the weekend's game about Sunday morning. Back to normal news tomorrow. We will have a matchday preview with stats on Friday, looking ahead to the game against Blackburn. Big game for Leeds tonight in terms of Ipswich. If Ipswich can drop points tonight, that does Leeds a huge favour. Makes last night's point not look so bad. We'll have to wait and see. There's a subscribe button down below there. You can click that if you want to subscribe to the channel. And yesterday's news video is over there. You know the deal. It's down there. You can click on that. That helps the channel to grow as well. Right, I'll leave it there. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. See you then. Bye.